when he throws the ball 60 times? I know you guys normally just go off of what the defense gives you, but ideally, I would assume you'd want to be a bit more balanced.
I mean, we ended up with 60 just because we probably had, 10 or 15 of those that were at the end of the game. So, I mean, ideally, I don't know, certain teams maybe will throw it 60, but ideally we weren't headed that direction. The way the game was, we were headed much more balanced, and we actually ran for a couple hundred yards and probably 170 of that when it mattered, or 160. So that wasn't really the issue. It's just the way the flow of the game went, and we really thought we could take advantage of their secondary. We just got in a little bit of a lull there in the second quarter. We couldn't get out of our end by our own doing, penalties and then a turnover. So we never got really, we probably took those 15 to 18 shots, which we wanted to do for obvious reasons. You guys watch the game. We obviously thought we had an advantage there. Didn't always hit them, but that's what we wanted to do. It just turned out we ended up probably throwing a little bit more than we'd like. But when you run, we ran 90-something plays, 60 throws. That means we ran it 30-something times, and probably the whole fourth quarter we were down. With that being said, it just turned out when you run that many plays, somewhere along the line, when you run 90-something plays, you're going to say, hey, do you really want to run it 50 times in the game, or somewhere you're going to be probably a little bit skewed. I didn't say much to him last week, and he played fine, so I'm not going to say much this week. I think he's a guy that understands. I'm sure he looked at the film and felt he did some things that could do better. And there's things I can do better with him. We put him in some tough situations for a guy that had never played. But unfortunately, the scenario of the game put him in that. If you don't have the penalties and you don't have the turnovers, then we're not in that scenario. I don't think we're in that scenario. So then you don't put him in the tougher situations. You're not down 6, and I put him in empty and he throws a pick. We don't put him in those situations. So the game dictates some of that, and so hopefully we won't be in that situation as often where he's going to be forced to make a play to help us win a game. I think he will, but you don't want to do that as often as I think we did.
Were you surprised at the amount of penalties you guys had?
Surprise is, I don't even know what to say. You're not going to win very often having that many penalties, but again, a lot of what we did to ourselves. It's the way it is. You can't. Sure, with any game, you're going to have certain calls that you don't agree with. That's just the way it is. I don't know. It's the way it's always been. But a lot of it is we did to ourselves. There's no way around it. Some of them I thought were what they were, but you got to be kidding me. Can't turn over 4 times and have 15 penalties. It's just not going to happen.
Todd, you talk about that pick that you alluded to that pick 6. I think it was the third quarter where the momentum kind of shifted a little bit. You look at that as a situation you like to avoid. I think it was an empty set then.
It was 3rd and 12. Maybe not that long, but it was a 3rd and long, and it was in the fourth quarter, and we were down 6. And you look back at it and you say, have we put him in the situation enough when it's empty and they go 0 in a critical situation? Does he really know where to go with the ball? And the answer is no. It's my fault. We haven't repped it enough. He hasn't repped. Did we anticipate that? No. Did we have a real plan? Sure. Is it get it out the jet, or he's got to check us out of it? Of course it is. Did we like the route we had against what they did on 3rd and extra long? Of course we did. That's what we do all week, figuring that out. The problem was there's things that come up, just like the flea flicker. We had the crosser wide open, but had we repped it enough to where he really felt comfortable with it? That's on us, as myself, to make sure that we've done it enough to where he knows where to go with the ball. And there's no recall for him. It's not like he has recall of a year or two to recall, oh yeah, I remember this. Yeah, we just put that in, and it just doesn't have that. So that's my fault. And again, we're all in this together. We don't play well. It starts with me. And we got to play better.
As being a young quarterback like that, a situation where you throw a pick 6, is that you think for a young guy that's kind of a learning point that sticks in his head, all right, maybe if I throw it away or loft it out of bounds,
I think he was trying to throw it away. I really do. I think he was trying to get it there. He just couldn't get it there. He was on his back foot. Yeah. And it's, that's what I was kind of talking about with the Savannah State game. The hard part about a game like that is where do you learn most is through failure. And so you go through a game like Savannah State, that adds confidence. That's part of it. You become a confident player in a team. But in the end, there wasn't enough there to say, oh, when they do this, or as a player, you learn from your failures. I think that's one thing that moving forward that we'll gain from this with some of our younger guys that are playing for us. you're going to gain so much from some of the failures that you get from playing, and then get them corrected. That's what we're supposed to do. You would have liked to have the dang things corrected before we play, but obviously moving forward, that's what we got to do.